Mr. Wade here and Mrs. Crime. We bring to you another Tombstone Whispers video. We're out here in Vancouver, Washington at the Park Hill Cemetery. Now, what brings us here? Now, today's story is about a murder that over the past 30 years, it is still a mystery. They have not solved it, but yet they've been, I don't know if they're still looking for the murderer or what. But as we know, murders, there's no stale misdemeanor in a felony or a murder. So obviously they're still looking for suspects. I wonder, over 30 years. So anyways, this story is about a husband and wife, Janet and Dale. Yes, I got their name down because I've been getting prepared for this video. So Janet and Dale Anderson. Now, they were making pretty good money. They had a nice home in Washougal, Washington. Now, we rolled past there and got a footage of the area and the house, but basically it's private property, so it's also owned either by their children or by someone else. So we didn't go up in there. We ended just roll by and show you the actual house. We wanted to get up close, but we couldn't. Now, we're going to visit their grave, and hopefully we'll find it. Mrs. Crime is over there looking for the grave right now. We're in the roundabout area. It's this Park Hill Avenue, Section W. Okay. So basically the story is this. Husband and wife. Don't know what happened. Don't know how it happened. Cops don't know. You know, they had two or three older children that lived in the same house. But anyways, the wife was at home the day that she was murdered. I will be posting dates on here as usual, okay? So the wife was murdered. Whoever murdered her, supposedly by the cops, they were still waiting for the husband to get there. Now, the husband had a buddy, a friend of his that made some decent money as well, that drove him home later on that evening. As he got home, he discovered his wife was murdered. That's what they're saying. We wasn't in the house to see it, but that's what they're saying. So he walks into the house. He sees his wife. She's murdered. He gets shot 4 times. Not 1, not 2, not 3. 4 times he gets shot. Now, he's dead, of course. Now, the person or suspects that killed the husband and wife, they took the automobile. That's the only thing missing. So their suspect activity is from the police is saying that it must be someone they knew, known, or just was a family friend that did that. They were under the assumption that maybe it was the friend that brought him home. Maybe he went there and killed the wife, and he took the husband home and later on killed him the same time he discovered his wife was there. We don't know the story because nobody was there. The cops were not there, you know. So this is a murder story that is definitely one of Washougal, Washington's murder mystery, because they cannot find or they don't know who did it. If I find out any more information, I will post that here. But for my Mr. Wade's investigations and Mrs. Crime investigation, we only have what we've seen so far. So we're out looking for the grave. Hopefully we find it and give our respect to Dale and Janet Anderson. And stay tuned for a lot more. Okay, Mr. Wade here. So I've been looking for the grave of Janet and Dale, and Mrs. Crime, she has found the grave. So we are going to her location over here at Park Hill Cemetery and give the respect to Janet and Dale Anderson. I'm not gonna lie, you know, Mr. Wade loves to find the grave first. You know, it's like a competition thing. You know, it's weird how me and Mrs. Crime had that competition of who can find the grave first. But she found the grave and she made a big noise about, woohoo, over here. And I said, you found it? She's like, yeah. I found it. But we are on our way to explore and to see their grave. Stay tuned for a lot more from Tombstone Whispers. Bye. As you see, adjacent to here is a golf course where you, I guess, putting green, or where you strike the ball, see how far you can hit it. I'm not a golfer, so I couldn't tell you what that's about. As you see right here, there's Mrs. Crime. She's in her peach and blue jeans, you know, the Mrs. Crime style, but that's her right there at the grave. She's bragging, of course, that she found it before I did. Sad story, but that's what we do. You know, you're looking for a grave and you can't find it, and all of a sudden you find the grave, it jumps out at you. Let's go see and give respect to Dale and Janet. Stay tuned. So we are at the grave of Janet and Dale Anderson. And Mrs. Crime, how you feel about this?
It's a sad story.
Yeah, it's sad about a husband and wife that were murdered in their own home by a suspect or suspects that they cannot find. And it's been over 30 years since the date of that. And they have their suspicion of who they might think it is from the police, but as I said earlier in the video, there's no such thing as a still misdemeanor or a still felony for something as of such as a murder. And unfortunately, their children, they were of age when it happened. They were young kids at the time. But imagine what they're going through dealing with this thing of both their parents being murdered in the same house, pretty much the same day. And the dad was murdered, shot in the head 4 times, and I don't know if it's a head extremities or body extremities. The mom, not quite sure how she was murdered as well, but knowing that the suspect is out there still to this day, 30 years later, still can't find this person, whether it's one or a couple of people, but to know that all they took was their vehicle. And wow. So we're going to show you the grave of Janet and Dale Anderson. Like I said earlier, you know, I like to be the first one to find the grave sometimes, but Mrs. Crime, she found it today. This is her umpteenth time finding it. You know, to give our respect to the Dales and Janet Anderson. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you the grave. A lot more to come. Okay, so here is the grave of the Andersons, Janet and Dale. So Janet, March 18th, 1938. Dale, August 29th, 1935, the year they were born. So Janet was approximately 3 years older than Dale. They both were murdered in their home, September 8th, 1989. This is a Tombstone Whispers respect to the family of Dale and Janet Anderson. And to know that something like this continues to strive on with negativity in the world. And to know that there are suspects out there that have not been captured or put on trial for this murder. They were located in Washougal, Washington. And right now we're at the Park Hill Cemetery in Vancouver, Washington.